Meeting to order. Go down the general agenda. Why don't we go around the room and introduce everybody? We'll start with Brian.
Brian Barrett, Interim Executive Director for Columbia 911.
That way, Rob.
Okay, Rob Anderson, Zone 5 Representative.
Henry Highmiller from Zone 3. You're on the other side of the hill.
Shelley Hennessy, Vernon, board member.
Mickey Nichols, CFO, Columbia 911.
Mary Jo Beck, Office Support Specialist, Columbia 911.
Nathan Hughes, Tech Manager.
Very chill.
Dalton Barclay.
On Mike Riceman Budget Committee.
D. Woolley Budget Committee. Brian King, and he's Zone 1 Representative. Directors.
Did we have a guest here?
So in other words, I'm gonna call you the new D. Katsu.
Yeah.
We have a guest here.
Yeah, I'm Jason Kester with Day Wireless.
Thank you. Election of Chair and Secretary for the 2025-2026 Budget Committee. Entertain any motions for Chair?
Mike, if I can just intervene real quick. It looks like we have Randy Hansen, who is a budget member for the Vernonia area, as well as Jeff Blatt, board member for the Rainier Zone, just so everybody is aware.
Sorry, Randy and Jeff, sorry about that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Randy. Sorry, go ahead.
Jeff, you're out there? Okay. Thanks, Mary Jo.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not techie.
That's it, point of order. Your
Okay.
Robert's rules start.
Entertain a motion for, or any nominations. Thank you. Nominations for chair for,
Mr. Chair, yeah, who is the current secretary? I know you're the chair.
Shelley is the current secretary.
Oh, Shelley is?
Mhm.
Well, I would entertain a motion to retain the existing slate.
I second it.
okay. Motion made and seconded to elect the current chair and secretary. Any discussion? All for a vote, all in favor of the current chair and secretary, you can say the signal of aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Presentation of the budget message and budget proposal document. Who's going to do
That
that?
would be me.
Okay,
And I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. A lot of this information is a little bit too much for me to memorize, it's probably too important to kind of do ad lib, so. Unless there's an objection, I'm gonna read in this document. So if you have a full belly and afternoon doldrums, you might fall asleep, but that's okay, right? So anyway, here we go. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each of you for attending the 2025-2026 budget meeting for Columbia 911 Communication District. Our local budget process would not be possible without your assistance. This year, I have the privilege of providing a briefing of significant changes in projected revenues and expenditures. The presentation of the budget provides the forum for which I have the opportunity to explain noteworthy items, while each of you have the opportunity to review the budget document. In preparing this proposal, consideration was given to the express wishes of the public, staff, partners, and committee members. In compliance with Oregon local budget law, the annual budget for fiscal year 25-26 is balanced between total projected revenues and requirements. As prepared and submitted, the annual budget is intended to serve as a financial plan for the next fiscal year outlining forecasted expenditure requirements and proposed means for financing these requirements. An operational plan for the use and deployment of personnel, materials, services, and other resources during the 25-26 fiscal year. An active financial guide to implement district goals and objectives. And a communication device to our public. Within the annual budget, the district funds are grouped as follows. General fund, used to record financial transactions related to all activities of the district for which specific types of funds are not required. Facility reserve fund, used to record financial transactions related to the building remodeling or relocation of 911 operations. Equipment reserve fund, used to accumulate needed funds for communication equipment, systems replacement, or upgrades. Revenue loss reserve fund, used to accumulate funds to offset expenses when revenue is lost. The Board of Directors adopting resolution authorize appropriations for each fund at the end of the budget process sets the level by which expenditures cannot exceed appropriation. Funds for personal services, materials and services, capital outlay, fund transfers, and contingencies are the levels of control for each fund established by resolution. Appropriations lap at the end of the fiscal year. The district administration, working with the Board of Directors, completed a strategic planning process in 2014, which has nearly been implemented. A new strategic plan will need to be developed this fiscal year, along with a review of district mission and value statements. The district will address personnel needs with regard to recruiting, training, and retaining of staff. Services and assets will continue to be maintained. Board and staff members will begin planning for major radio system upgrades and develop a plan to finance the project. Staff will continue with district facility upgrades and will work to find an appropriate solution for a backup center, which would involve some of the regional partners that have been recently formed. The proposed budget expenditures for fiscal year 25-26 for all funds total $10,511,836. This represents a decrease of $4,331,002 or 29.18%. This decrease is primarily due to the loss of our local option levy, which resulted in not having much of a contingency and the inability to transfer funds or have an ending fund balance. The critical issues and budget development guidelines approved by the Board of Directors relative to this budget category is shown here. Ensure adequate staffing to provide quality service delivery through effective recruitment, selection, training, competitive compensation, and retention of employees. On average, the district sees an annual turnover rate of 2 operational staff employees. Typically, they are trainee positions who are not successful in our training program. In the past 12 months, the district hired 5 full-time and 1 part-time communication specialist, including a new hire with 8 years of previous experience at a neighboring 911 center. 1 new trainee was unsuccessful, but 4 are on track to finish training by the end of the fall. We have 3 ComSpecs resigned to work at neighboring dispatch centers. However, 1 of those will be returning this month. Currently have 1 part-time and 13 full-time, 4 of which are trainees, ComSpecs, and 2 of the 3 lead dispatchers positions are filled. We are budgeted for 17 full-time positions, which include 2 part-time roles. Due to staffing shortages and the mandates they create, there has been a drastic increase in overtime costs. The district continues to recruit qualified candidates for the ComSpecs position. This year, we have noticed an improvement in the quality of applications being submitted. Recruitment for laterals with a minimum of 2 years experience remains open year-round. It remains the continued goal of the district to reach a staff minimum of 3 ComSpecs nearly 24 hours a day, with a 4th during peak hours. Lead dispatchers continue to provide support to the operations floor and assist the operations manager with various tasks. This level of staffing supports ongoing training requirements and offers more efficient coverage for earned leave requests using less overtime assignments. The district concluded negotiations with Columbia 911 Dispatcher Association on a 3-year contract beginning July 2023. The annual 2024 U.S. cities averages CPIW was 2.9%. However, the agreed upon collective bargaining contract determined a minimum of 3% CPI for that year. Anticipated wage increases as a result of bargaining have been considered in the development of this budget. It is the board's practice to consider administrative staff compensation adjustments in conjunction with collective bargaining impacts following contract settlement. This budget has been prepared with that historical practice. On the administrative staff side, our executive director retired this past year, nearly 6 years of dedicated service. An interim executive director has been brought on part-time and a recruitment process is underway to fill the position permanently by July 1st, 2025. This budget accounts for anticipated merit-based step increases for employees who are not at the top of their wage scale, certifications projected to be finished, and longevity milestones that will be reached. Currently, only 36 of the district's employees are at the top of their wage scale. The district's health insurance administrator, City County Insurance Services, announced its not to exceed rate adjustment beginning January 2026 at their annual conference in February 2025. The maximum not to exceed rate for Kaiser medical insurance, which over half of employees and dependents are enrolled in, is 13%. There is a 9% increase projected for our Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield medical plan, and the vision premium portion is projected at 6% increase. Regents Delta Dental Plan is projecting a 7% increase, and Kaiser Dental Plan is projected a 3% increase for the next renewal period. The CCIS Board of Trustees will adopt the final rate changes in late April. To help offset the out-of-pocket expenses that employees incur for medical expenses, the district continues to contribute to a voluntary employee benefit account, VEBA. This benefit begins for employees on their 1-year anniversary, and the monthly contribution for all employees is currently 2.5% plus $20 of the communications specialist top step, which will be approximately $2,174 per year per employee. This graph illustrates the changes in employee participation in health insurance premium payments, as well as the fluctuations in health benefit costs to the district over the years. All district employees that qualify for Tier 1 in a retirement plan have retired. The district has 2 employees in Tier 2, and the remainder of the staff are in Oregon Public Service Retirement Plan through the Oregon PERS system. Also, all 2-tier and OPSERP members participate in an individual account program, IAP. District staff members contribute 6% of their wages to the employee IAP account, and the district does not pick up that contribution for its employees. Senate Bill 1049 went into effect on July 1st, 2020, and redirects a portion of the 6% contribution into the employee's stability account, which is used to pay future pension benefits. Tier 1, Tier 2 employees have 2.4% of their 6% contribution diverted to their EPSA, and OPSERP have 0.65% diverted. These changes will end once the pension is 90% funded, which experts believe to be about 14 years away. The PERS board conducts actuarial valuations every year to give employers, an indication of future rates. The December 2023 actuarial rate of Columbia 911 as a member of the local government employee group that will go into effect on July 1st, 2025 is 25.68% for Tier 1, Tier 2 employees, up from 24.23%, and 24.05% for OPSERP employees, up from 21.38. The total appropriation for personal services for fiscal year 2025-26 is $3,658,699 and represents 71.6% of our general fund budget. This is an increase of 14.41% over last fiscal year. This year's budget maintains the communication specialist staffing level at 17 positions, which includes 3 lead dispatch positions and 2 part-time positions, also maintained are the current administrative positions. The primary reason for the increase in this year's budget are overtime costs, anticipated wage increase, our PERS expense, and significant increase in health insurance. In the calendar year 2024, staff answered over 78,000 telephone calls to the dispatch center. The average answer speed for 911 calls has been consistently maintained at 3.6 seconds, with over 80% of those calls coming from wireless cellular telephones, which has steadily increased over the last 10 years. The 3.60 second answer time is well within nationally accepted standards. NENA standards state that 90% of all 911 calls shall be answered within 15 seconds. The district's performance for calendar year 2024 was 99.33%, a number that we are very proud of. The district's dispatch activity increased by 10.19% from 2022 to 2023. A total of 67,764 law enforcement, fire, emergency medical, and other agency incidents were dispatched or supported by dispatch personnel in 23-24. The critical issues and budget development guidelines approved by the Board of Directors relative to this budget category can be found on page 22 of your proposed budget. It is to ensure optimally functioning equipment to allow for effective service delivery, ensure facility security and proper state of maintenance, ensures appropriate and effective use of services through public awareness, education, and the dissemination of public information. In addition to critical issues, the primary purpose for the amounts proposed in materials and services line items for this year include maintaining current levels of service, maintaining buildings, equipments, and facilities. Over time, the district has endeavored to keep these costs as low as possible while still maintaining a stable and up-to-date system. The total budget amount proposed for fiscal year 2025-2026 increased by $60,050 or 5.54% from the prior fiscal year. Line items have been increased or decreased based on fluctuations projected by our vendors, projected needs, and/or historical usage. Tower site lease, repairs, and maintenance. Funds are included for our annual lease payments to Weyerhaeuser for our Clascanine Mountain and Pisgah home sites, to Oregon Department of Transportation for the site we occupy at Green Mountain, and to Day Wireless Systems for our Columbia Heights radio system. Improvements continue to be made to our radio system to bring radio equipment and sites up to industry standards. Funds are being budgeted to address potential repairs at sites as well as to include the items not covered under the maintenance agreement. On-site radio and audio recording equipment repairs and maintenance. Included in this line item is the annual lease payment for our
Equiture?
Okay, well, it's hard for you to say, so it's okay
Yes.
that Equiture voice recording platform. The preventative maintenance agreement for our radio system also includes the maintenance of our Motorola Gold Elite console equipment in the dispatch center. Monies continue to be included to fund that portion of the agreement and to cover items that it does not include. CAD GIS operation system repair and maintenance. CAD is an integral tool for service delivery and is a cost we continue to monitor carefully. The accumulation of the multi-year CAD system replacement project for the district was completed fiscal year 2018 to 19. Included in this line item is the district's portion of the annual maintenance, our share of the expense of the Magix Manager, CAD networking costs, and the station alert interface. Also included is the expense of the fiber optic connection to WACA, as well as the cost of several backup connections. The Oregon 911 program maintains two accounts from the 911 excise tax they received that funds equipment and services for all the state of Oregon 911 centers. Over the past several years, the state has put in place several cost-cutting measures to help maintain these two accounts. These cost reductions have been passed on to each 911 center. In the past, OEM has paid to maintain all 5 of our emergency call-taking positions. The district has become responsible for the maintenance of 1 of the 5 positions, as well as associated costs to maintain the 911 phone system analytics. Maintaining the 5th position and analytics system to assure our performance is critical to our operations. The estimate fund to maintain these items continues to be included in this line item. Administrative data system repair and maintenance. Quality assurance, quality improvement programs are vital to assuring that core functions are compliant to district, state, and national standards. These programs are focused on processes and systems that are developed through uniform standardized training. Logistically, they are very challenging to set up and administer within the staffing limitations of an organization. With the commissioner previously approving the Columbia County Ambulance Service Area, district staff continues to further develop our QA/QI program in partnership with our medical advisor and our EMS partners to review our operational policies and evaluate a % of the district's 911 medical calls. The district's payroll and accounting software programs were upgraded and replaced with the arrival of our new CFO. Funds have been included to continue this upgrade and annual subscription. Telecommunications. Oregon Emergency Management continues to pay for the district's 8 enhanced 911 trunks, as well as for state wireless network costs. In the past, we have recorded these expenditures as a revenue and expense to fully capture the true expense as a cost of operations. This year, the Oregon Emergency Management 911 program did fund the replacement of 4 of our 5 911 telephone workstations. The district was responsible to pay for the 5th workstation. Over the last several years, the state has been unreliable in accounting through the PSAPs these expenses that are being paid, and we have had to rely on averages from prior years to report these expenses. While there have been some signs of improving and reporting from the state, the district decided not to budget for this revenue beginning in fiscal year 21-22 and continuing for this year's proposed or budget proposal. We continue to fund the 6 lines in the MIC that are used when there is activation of the Public Information Center for emergencies within the county. Other options for handling these situations are continuing to be explored that won't require funding of phone lines that are rarely used, but important in managing a countywide event. Elections. Following the failure of the 5-year local option levy renewal measure in both May and November 2024 elections, the district had to utilize funds from designated reserve accounts established specifically to address unexpected reductions in funding to ensure continued financial stability for the 2025-26 fiscal year. The district plans to pursue renewal of the levy at the same rate of 29 cents per 1,000 of assessed value in the November 2025 election, as the district cannot sustain operations long-term without this additional tax revenue. Previously, this levy had earned voter approval in Columbia County for 5 consecutive cycles, spanning from 1998 to 2018. Through the Special District Insurance Services Best Practices Program, the district identifies risk prevention and healthy business practices in use by the district that are recommended as best practices by SDIS. For each year that the district adds best practices and/or maintains best practices, credits are given against the insurance premiums. For the calendar year 2025, the district received 4,474 in best practice credits, as well as 2,246 multi-line discount. As a follow-up from last year's discussion, the district has taken steps to help protect our data asset from a cyber attack that are happening at an alarming rate across the country. The district insurance agent of record strongly recommend that the district add additional coverage to cover higher limits. This has been accomplished and funds have been included to continue this coverage. Professional services. Significant adjustments have been made to fund the district's increasing need for legal oversight of the collective bargaining agreement, radio site agreements, public purchasing rules, intergovernmental agreements, policy reviews, and unforeseen labor issue advice and litigation. This proposal funds the contract services of a consultant that staff may use for communications training, strategic building. Additionally, these consultants may assist staff in reviewing our mission statement and identifying goals that will help in the development of a new 5-year strategic plan. Public education and information. The district plans to expand its informational materials and community outreach initiatives over the coming year, leveraging both social media and printed media to educate residents on significant projects such as the radio system upgrades and the critical role of emergency communication services. These materials will illustrate dispatcher training, technological advancements, and interagency collaboration. Outreach efforts will emphasize appropriate use of 911 services and effectively communicate public safety messages in conjunction with our community partners. Additionally, the district will actively participate in community events to increase awareness and engagement to ensure efficiency and responsiveness. To ensure efficiency and responsiveness, the design, coordination, and content creation of these initiatives will be handled internally by district staff with relevant expertise, providing enhanced control, improved quality, and accelerated production timelines. Capital outlay all funds. The critical issues and budget development guidelines approved by the Board of Directors relative to the budget category can be found on page 25 of your proposed budget document. And they are ensure optimally functioning equipment to allow for effective service delivery, ensure continued emergency communications in the event of disaster by securing a viable backup communications environment, ensure facility security and proper state of maintenance, maximize interoperability projects through partnerships with other neighboring jurisdictions. Given the ongoing uncertainty surrounding funding for the new radio system, such a project is unlikely to be feasible in the near future. Therefore, attention must be directed toward developing a prioritized list of all critical systems, evaluating their current conditions, and identifying any potential risk of significant communication disruptions that could impact public safety personnel, dispatch operations, and overall community safety. The district will obtain firm cost estimates for each identified item and define the necessary step and projected timelines for procurement, installation, system transition, and acceptance testing, all prior to final turnover for operational use. Upon receiving board approval, the district will move forward with contractual agreements for the approved system replacement projects and initiate the corresponding procurement process. Site development. The district has been working on the following solutions during this fiscal year in order to improve radio quality. Meisner site. The site construction project began in 2020. It was delayed for many months due to concerns related to COVID-19, but is now in its final phase of completion. The Meisner site project should be completed by the end of this fiscal year. Haven Acres site. Located within the city limits of Clasconia, this site has been identified as requiring upgrades to meet the operational standards set by the district. Surplus equipment, including a radio shelter, monotower, generator, and propane tank, has already been acquired and is currently being stored at Columbia County Public Works back lot until needed for installation. As the district finalizes its prioritized recommendations for critical upgrades and replacements to the existing radio system, while carefully balancing system longevity and sustainable use of reserve funding. The planned upgrade to this site remain uncertain during this 2025-26 fiscal year. Pisgah Home Site, Buck Mountain. This site was acquired from Day Wireless in 2017 with a strategic intent of improving radio communication coverage across rural regions of the southern portion of the county. Initial site enhancements were carried out between 2017 and 18, which included the decommissioning and demolition of an outdated tower structure, installation of a perimeter security fencing to mitigate liability risks, and the extension of underground electrical services to the site to support future infrastructure. Subsequent development activities were suspended due to ongoing uncertainty regarding the site's viability in supporting a future next-generation radio system, or its potential integration and expansion within the framework of the existing VHF radio network. As the district finalizes its prioritized recommendation for critical upgrades and replacements to the existing radio system, while carefully balancing system longevity and sustainability use of reserve funding, the continued development of this site into a fully operational site remains uncertain during 25-26 fiscal year. Microwave upgrades. There are 2 remaining microwave links still operating with obsolete hardware. They are dispatched to Bald Hill, Columbia Heights, north to south. These links reached their end-of-life status in 2016. The current upgrade initiative aims to replace this outdated equipment with the same hardware models used in the previous completed microwave system upgrades. This approach ensures consistency across the entire network, aligning all components to the same generation and life cycle. Upgrading these links also supports the broader transition away from legacy T1 lines, a digital analog hybrid communication format historically used in 911 systems. As the state migrates to an IP-based 911 infrastructure, it is essential that our microwave system be capable of supporting this modern communication standard. Radio console replacement. The radio console serves as a central hub of the communication system, providing dispatchers with a fully integrated computerized application of each of the 5 dispatch positions. This system enables dispatchers to manage incoming calls, accurately assess wide ranges of situations, deploy appropriate response units, and monitor events until they are resolved. The current radio console in use, the Motorola Gold Elite, is now 15 years past production and has exceeded its end of life by 6 years. The system is significantly outdated, with replacement parts becoming increasingly scarce, though not entirely unavailable. Of greater concern is the limited number of qualified technicians in the Western United States who possess the expertise to service or address major failures within this system. The replacement of the radio console equipment has been identified as a priority and should be pursued during the 25-26 fiscal year. The district should initiate the appropriate procurement process to identify a capable replacement system that minimizes the need for additional training and ensures seamless integration with the existing system. All CAD systems are highly complex. The district joined 3 other PSAPs to purchase and develop a regional CAD system nearly 9 years ago. The new CAD system has stabilized, but it is in a constant state of change and upgrades due to the system requirements and user needs. Funding to pay for our portion of these upgrades has been included in this year's budget. The district does not house the servers used for the CAD system. We rely on high availability connections through VeloCloud to the CAD hub, which is located at Clackamas County 911 Center. The VeloCloud devices utilize multiple redundant internet connections, such as fiber optics, cellular, and satellite. This ensures that our connection to the CAD servers is stable even during internet service outages. The physical CAD workstation high-power computers were replaced in 2024 with smaller form factor computers. Backup center. If there is a need to evacuate our main facility, we are currently challenged by technology. Last year, the district received a new CPE, customer premise equipment. Our 911 telepost system refresh funding by Oregon 911 tax. With this new version of 911 telephone technology, we purchased 2 Vesta Command Post laptops. As of the writing of this budget message, we are still actively implementing the remote capabilities of the Vesta Command Posts. Currently, the district can operate CAD remotely, either locally or by leveraging our partnership with Magix Regional CAD Consortium. If needed, district staff could relocate all of our operational staff to any one of the 3 other 911 centers, Clackamas, Lake Oswego, or WACA. Again, all 3 of these 911 centers operate on the same CAD system as the district, and all 3 centers operate the same 911 telephone systems. With the implementation of the new regional CAD system, one component of what is needed for a redundant backup location has been addressed. The other remaining components needed are the ability to transfer emergency telephone lines, which is relatively easy to do, and the ability to send and receive radio transmissions to and from the public safety end user within the county. The most complex and physically challenging is the radio system. The establishment of a reliable, redundant system was centered around the implementation of a new public safety radio system and exploring how best to utilize it in the development of a fully functional backup center. However, with the new radio system now postponed for estimated 5 to 7 years, alternative solutions must be considered. The recent upgrades to the microwave backbone, along with the potential integration into WACA's system, may offer a practical and comprehensive solution for establishing a robust backup system. Roofs and gutters. Work began in fiscal year 24-25 to replace the failing roof and gutters of the main dispatch facility. Full restoration of the building's protective water envelope will continue until the 25-26 fiscal year. As the building is due for complete repainting and several repairs to fully seal all possible points of water intrusion. Tree and vegetation control. Funds have been reserved for tree and vegetation control at several district properties. This includes trees damaged by storm, and at risk of falling, as well as trees whose position endanger other district-owned assets. Structures. As the district proceeds with repairs necessary to maintain our VHF system, we expect that some of our existing radio site building structures will need to be updated or altered to accommodate changed equipment. Dispatch console furniture. As part of the 5-year strategic plan, we had intended to replace our dispatch console furniture in the 24-25 fiscal year. However, due to the local option levy not passing, this initiative has been placed on hold. Additionally, our existing consoles have critical components that are wearing out and can no longer be serviced, reinforcing the need for replacement. The best time to replace the console furniture would be when the radio consoles are replaced, as doing both simultaneously is crucial to minimize impact and disruption to the operators on the dispatch floor. Dispatch console furniture is specifically designated and engineered for the 911 industry, ensuring it can handle 24/7 operations and accommodate offices like ours where our comm specs use multiple mice, keyboards, and 5 computer monitors. Each 911 center is unique in its requirements based on location size and nature of emergency it handles. As such, each dispatch center is carefully tailored to meet its specific needs. Once the project resumes, we will seek customizable layout, modular furniture, and adaptable technology infrastructure to optimize dispatch performance. Our goal remains to provide solutions to enhance the functionality of our dispatch center by creating an environment that fosters efficiency and collaboration. Fire alarm sprinkler systems. The district fire alarm and sprinkler system is the original one constructed with the modular facility in 1999. It was built with the additions of the radio room, MIC, and the extension. Funds have been included to replace the major components of this aging system. Fencing. The completion of a security fencing that encompasses the entire campus of the district continues to be explored. The proposed budget revenues for fiscal year 2025-26 for all funds total $10,511,836. This represents a decrease of $4,331,002, or 29.18% of the current fiscal year. All funds total $14,642,838. This decrease is primarily due to the loss of the district's local option levy. The district's net working capital has fluctuated over the years. For fiscal year 2025-2026, it is projected to decrease over what it was budgeted for the beginning of 2024 and 25. The primary reason for this are that some capital projects, which are funded out of our reserve funds, have been completed as planned, plus property tax revenue collections are drastically lower due to the loss of the district's local option levy. This graph, the fiscal year 2025-26 projected working capital in comparison to historical working. This slide shows a steady increase in our county's valuation from beginning in 2015-16 to current fiscal year. The total assessed value for Columbia County for 2025-26 was over $6.748 billion compared to last year's $6.646 billion. This amounts to be a 1.5% increase over the prior year. This budget proposal is prepared utilizing funds received from a permanent property tax rate and the state of Oregon 911 excise tax. Following the failure of the 5-year local option levy renewal measure in both May and November, the district had to utilize funds from the Revenue Loss Reserve Fund, essentially depleting this fund. As a result, and to ensure continued financial stability over fiscal year 2025-26, this proposed budget includes strategic adjustments to align with available funding. Looking ahead, the district plans to pursue renewal of the local option levy in November of 2025. Previously, this levy had earned voter approval over Columbia County for 5 consecutive cycles, spanning from 1998 to 2019. This proposal utilizes the full taxing authority of the district's permanent tax of 25.54 cents per thousand assessed property value within Columbia County. Without the district local option levy, the total taxes projected to be collected is $1,657,782, a significant decrease over the last year. Under the 911 excise tax funding mechanisms, a monthly $1.25 per phone line is charged to consumers, including prepaid wireless users, and collected by phone service providers for the state revenue division, which then turns it over to OEM 911 program for management. This tax was changed effective with January 1st, 2021, with the passage of House Bill 2449, which increased the tax 25 cents. The tax had been 75 cents per line since 1995 until it was changed in January of 2020 from $1 per line. A portion of all funds, 35% of the 911 excise tax collected are used by the OEM 911 program to pay for the purchase, installation, maintenance, upgrading, and database maintenance for Oregon's enhanced 911 call reporting system, in which each PSAP in Oregon participates. Items paid for include emergency call delivery, infrastructure, and databases, call taking equipment, and system maintenance, GIS maintenance, UPS, system replacement and maintenance, and text to 911 technology. The program also funds the training and certification programs for emergency medical dispatchers and emergency telecommunicators under the Department of Public Safety Standard and Training. Newly hired ComSpecs, in order to become certified, are required to attend a 3-week academy at the DPSST facility located in Salem, Oregon. The remainder of the revenue is then distributed to local jurisdictions. Counties of a certain minimum unincorporated population receive a minimum of 1% of the distribution. The rest is distributed to counties by unincorporated population and to cities by incorporated population. These jurisdictions must use the funds for 911 call taking and related dispatch costs. In our jurisdiction, the total distribution comes directly to our PSAP. Columbia County qualifies for the 1% minimum distribution. OEM reimbursements and direct payments. OEM pays for the district 911 lines and equipment maintenance, repairs, upgrades, and database maintenance costs, as they do for all PSAPs in Oregon. PSAP managers have directed the state 911 program to pay these costs in full prior to dispersing operating revenues to the PSAP jurisdiction. The line and equipment maintenance costs are paid directly by OEM, and in the past were recorded here to reflect revenues contributed toward the cost of our system. Due to the unreliability of the information that is being reported by the state, the district decided not to budget for this revenue. The state's GIS MSAG funding model is calculated using a formula based on population served in the defined geographic jurisdiction, or in our case, county boundaries. PSAPs are required to report their actual MSAG maintenance activities in order to receive the distribution. The district is currently contracting the maintenance of our MSAG to one of our MAGIC partners. In exchange, they collect the distribution from the state. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2025-26 is designed to sustain the district's current high standard of service to our community and public safety partners. This approach takes into careful account the financial constraints resulting from the actualized lapse of our local option levy. The district remains committed to fiscal responsibility and will seek voter approval in November of 25 for the continuation of the local option levy. Due to the current funding limitations, strategic plans to replace the aging radio infrastructure with a next generation countywide system will be deferred for an estimated 3 to 5 years. This delay will allow the district to assess community support and rebuild the necessary financial resources to support a comprehensive system upgrade. In the interim, the district will prioritize the replacement of critical components within the existing radio system to reduce the risk of failure, ensure continued operational readiness, and support compatibility with future radio systems. Facility improvements and essential radio systems repair will be financed through reserve funds that the district has prudently accumulated for such contingencies. As these reserves are drawn down to address urgent equipment and infrastructure needs, the ability to replenish these accounts will depend on the successful passage of the local option levy. The district remains dedicated to recruiting, training, and retaining personnel at authorized staffing levels. Ensuring a well-prepared workforce is essential to maintaining our service delivery standards. Reduced revenue levels will limit contributions to the contingency fund and the in-fund balance. Nevertheless, the proposed budget reflects a disciplined allocation of available resources to safeguard core services while addressing high priority operation costs. With that, thank you very much. We extend our appreciation and recognition to all of our staff, members of the board and budget committee, and advisory committee members for their dedicated time and efforts in developing this budget proposal for this upcoming fiscal year. Please assure that the same level of commitment will be applied to the effective administration of the 2025-26 budget.
I'll give you a pat on the back for getting through that, but I'll pay for work.
Let me just take a quick swig of, yeah, something.
Anybody have any questions on the budget so far? I have one. On the microwave upgrade. Is there gonna be replacement of those two, or is that just something that has to be considered some way down the road? Because it doesn't say it's budgeted or anything for this year.
Replacement of the microwave, the two that we were.
Yeah,
So I think the microwave backbone was project had been ongoing. All of the microwaves have been brought up to a certain standard. These two have, if I'm correct, have hardware that hasn't been updated.
Right.
And those will be upgraded this fiscal year based upon the prioritization of the improvements that we need to do to our radio system. But I would like to answer your question without answering it. I think it's probably going to be a priority. Yeah.
So I would say Policoni, what's we're calling him?
Ron Policoni?
Yeah, we're referring to him as our consultant or our expert. Subject matter expert.
Public expert.
Yeah. Is currently evaluating every such piece of equipment and is forming a priority list. And its replacement would be based upon where it falls on that list.
so the goal is to do something in 2025-26.
Yeah. And that would be out of our equipment reserve fund.
Correct. So I'm just,
I was just gonna say.
it doesn't say that you're going to do anything or, so I just wanted to clarify that that's the goal is to replace depending on cost, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything else or? Anything from you, Randy, or?
No, actually, all the questions that I have written down were addressed in the message, mainly the option levy and what the status of the board was going to be going forward. I'm quite happy as usual. So thank you.
Did Jeff ever come online?
He's there.
Okay. Be on mute, no, okay. We need to set the fiscal year 2025-26 budget meeting calendar for the next meeting, right?
It was May 22nd, the tentative.
That's the budget hearing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
In order to make publication for the budget hearing, if the budget committee could meet sometime between Monday, the 28th and Thursday, the 1st would be
You say
ideal.
April 28th?
Next week.
Did I say
Yeah.
May? I apologize. April 28th and May 1st, be somewhere between that next week.
What's the day for, does everybody work for?
I could do afternoons on any of those days.
My secretary is in the car.
What's everybody?
In the afternoon.
Oh, any. Just Ham's radiation stuff mornings every day.
So maybe like another 1 o'clock. would work.
Afternoons are good for me.
Yeah, fine.
I just.
We're back in town.
I'll zoom in, but I can make it. Okay.
Okay, do you with everything?
Yeah.
On this, your boss, I mean,
Yeah,
you're.
well, I can't say that. I call her, I guess, and she can tell me, but
I'm open, so I'm just gonna have everybody come to the board meeting and help me put my floor in the kitchen before the regular budget meeting.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's the morning session.
Yeah. So do we want to do it on the 29th in the afternoon? I said Tuesday.
Sounds good for me.
Well, I'd be better to meet at noon. One's pushing up for me to get back to work at time.
No. That work for you, Henry?
It'll work.
Oh, okay.
Lunch provided. Provided.
Can do lunch again if that's what you guys would like.
Randy, is that okay?
Yeah, that works for me. I'll arrange my schedule and try and be there in person.
Oh, I was gonna eat your piece of pizza for you.
Well, that's good too. I'll share.
I thought you were gonna mail it to him.
So it sounds like Tuesday, the 29th at noon, 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
Does
this
that work for everybody?
is Jeff. I finally got it to work. I was experiencing some technical difficulty. I could hear you guys, but you couldn't hear me, but it was an error on my part. But anyway, yeah, I'm good with that.
That's right. Brian, I just realized advisory committee meeting is at noon, the 29th.
I have.
Will the 30th on the?
We could look at the 30th. That would.
30th is fine with me.
30th is fine again, just.
Okay.
zoom in.
Yeah, 30th is open.
For me, getting through the budget by Monday would be too hard to.
Yeah. I understand that, yeah. So Wednesday, the 30th at noon?
Randy, would that and Jeff work Monday or Wednesday, the 30th?
Yeah.
Randy, is that okay?
Yeah, and I think starting at noon, I will show up in person
Okay.
for what it's worth.
Is that okay? The
Sounds
30th?
great, yeah.
Okay.
And just FYI, Mary Jo got the LB forms and the budget also uploaded on the website. So if you want to look at stuff electronically, it's available to download from the meeting notice.
Thanks. Any comments for the committee, budget committee?
I just want to thank Mickey and Mary Jo for another outstanding budget document. It's a good legacy to uphold. We're proud of that.
Any others? Then any public comments? Okay, then we'll call, or just a recess until April 30th at noon. Okay.
Thank you.